I was wondering if you were going to put that down, because it was going to be very distracting watching you rub your Johnson all day.
Listen, I was going to rub the Johnson for sure, and it wasn't going to be a problem, but you kind of made it a problem. I saw the eye contact, and I'm not opposed to eye contact with the
Johnson's out?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it, but
that makes sense.
It just didn't seem at the right time.
I'm constantly opposed to eye contact.
Really? In all situations?
If anyone looks me in the eye, dead.
How do you do it?
Shot on the spot. I pull a gun.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
Gone.
That's what you get for eye contact.
Welcome to the Wild West, boys. I'm John Marston. Hope you enjoy your stay. Oh.
It'll be a short stay, I promise you that.
I need some wisdom, my alley boy.
Yeah, give me that 20,000, baby.
Was he that desperate for the bounty?
It's not about the money.
Then what? What could you possibly have done to him to deserve this?
It's about sending a message.
I'm going to find out.
I like that he's like, Bane has an unhealthy obsession with you. Why would he do this to you? Didn't Bane just attempt to murder Alfred like 3 hours ago? And he's like, what is this problem with Bruce, okay?
Yeah, he's
after he just threw you off a cave and then tried to murder you.
I know, that's why some of these things don't make sense if you come back here later.
No.
Let's do this one. Gotham by Gaslight.
We haven't done Gaslight yet, yeah. We're gonna gaslight Alfred. Get over there.
I am gonna gaslight Alfred.
Give him a good gaslight.
Why don't you love me, Alfred?
We'll have to cancel New Year's at Wayne Manor. It's going to take a while for the city to recover from tonight.
Absolutely not, sir.
I didn't realize the party meant so much to you.
It doesn't. Only, it's one of the rare times you actually seem to enjoy yourself.
I enjoy myself plenty, Alfred.
I hope you're lying. For both our sakes.
Dude, did you know they were gonna do a Gotham by Gaslight game? And it got canceled.
I did hear about that. Yeah, I didn't know a lot of the details about it, but
very frustrating stuff.
Listen, we got the movie. I don't know what you're complaining about.
You're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah, could be not great.
Why am I not happy with the mediocre movie we got?
It just doesn't make sense. I think you should get over yourself.
I am so tired of. Look.
I'll look. Not for long, but I'll look.
I am so tired of DC animated movies at the moment in terms of what they've done in the last 4 or 5 years. Now, I know there's some good stuff.
Yeah.
I personally have not watched Long Halloween yet. But,
I really like Long Halloween.
It's because I got burnt out from the constant changes. They did this constant thing where it was like, hey, we have this iconic storyline. Fantastic. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Let's change the hell out of it and remove the things that make it special and release it as a movie. Wow, thanks.
Well, going through some of the more recent ones, you had the Long Halloween that just came out recently. They had, before that, Gotham by Gaslight. You didn't like as much. Killing Joke obviously wasn't very good. They had...
Yeah, if we're just talking about adaptations, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then you're looking at, there was Gotham by Gaslight, which I hadn't read the comics, so I enjoyed it, but it wasn't, like, phenomenal. It was just, like, okay, you know what I mean? But it went for more of a horror aspect. But I get what you mean, but, like, the overall grand... overview of DC movies, I kind of want to take a look at what they've done the past few years. I know they did that Batman Ninja movie, right?
Yeah, that was a bit of a whoops.
I heard it wasn't that good.
Good animation, terrible story.
Really?
Yeah, for that thing. Like, some of the better animation I've seen, but yeah, the story is, like, god-awful. But I will say that when DC is not trying to adapt something that they've already made, I still think that they're doing a pretty good job. The last adaptation they did that I can think of that I really liked was Dark Knight Returns.
That was really good.
It's actually, I think I might like it more than the graphic novel.
Really?
Yeah.
The graphic novel was really good. I think that the acting and the way that they did it almost frame for frame with
Peter
the comic.
Weller.
Dude.
Like from RoboCop, being the voice. He did real good.
Even the voice of the Joker, the guy from Lost. He plays a big guy from Lost.
Oh yeah, James T. Kirk or whatever.
Is that who it was? Yeah.
No, I just made that up.
No, I believed you. Yeah, we're just going to stick with that. But yeah, he was super good as Joker. Carrie Kelly's voice act. I mean, like, that was phenomenal, obviously. But I don't know, man. Like, aside from that, they had that DCAU, or not DCAU, but the animated movie universe they had going for a while.
That was hit or miss.
Very hit or miss. You had gems like the Flashpoint Paradox and the Dark. Those were really good, but then you also had...
And War.
War was really good, too. But then you had, like, Justice League vs. Teen Titans, which was, like, not...
I don't know how Nate enjoyed that movie. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but, like, he watched it and he was like, oh, I really liked it. And I was like, hey, man, you know what? I'm happy that you liked it.
Yeah.
I don't get anything out of people not liking stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, man, people they can't like stuff because I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I think it's horrible.
I didn't like that one at all.
You know, and I think
That's the one where they go to the circus, right?
Yeah, and I think Hush is pretty horrible. I don't know what this.
Hush was. Did you see
You
the
know what that one?
the World War II one, the most recent one?
I
Justice
didn't
League
get to
World War
see
II?
that yet.
That one was good. I
I'd
did like that one.
I'd like to get that on 4K. It does exist.
Hard to
find.
come by though, right? Yeah.
So what's weird about those movies though too is like, are they even making a new universe now? Because I've seen people on Reddit, like some of them were saying, oh well, the new thing is it's a new universe and it starts with Man of Tomorrow and then, you know, it's gonna have Long Halloween and some other stuff. But I don't understand if they're really doing that or if they just don't care and they're just kind of doing whatever.
Long Halloween didn't seem to me like something where they're helping to build a universe with that. That felt like, especially after you see it too, for me, that did not feel like we're establishing a universe type of thing. That felt like this has already been established. This is just an adaptation. That's all we're doing. It's like The Killing Joke. They weren't establishing a universe with The Killing Joke. They just did it. Same thing with Dark Knight Returns. You know what I mean? Like they. So I don't see that happening. Maybe Man of Tomorrow. I actually haven't seen Man of Tomorrow yet. I heard it was pretty good though, but I haven't seen that one yet.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I haven't seen Man of Tomorrow either. I guess, I don't know. Also, I'm not saying everything always has to be connected, but I don't see the point of wasting that when that's one of the best things they did with, like, the DC animated universe, the original.
Yes.
I really think they could go back to that so easy.
I don't know why they wouldn't, to be honest with you.
Because Dini's not interested, it seems like.
That's what he said?
No, it just seems like he's not, because like he's just been doing other stuff forever, but now he's back doing the animated series comics, so I don't get it. Like Bruce Timm seems like he's always interested in that universe. He came back, and without Dini, he mainly made
Fatal 5, right?
Harley Quinn and Fatal 5.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Fatal 5 was actually pretty good, but a lot of people didn't see it because they didn't like Harley Quinn, which kind of bummed me out.
Yeah.
It's like, I get, you know, I don't even think Batman and Harley Quinn's bad. I understand why people don't love it, like, but I still think that it's got weird moments in it. I think we even talked about this before on this Let's Play. It's got some weird stuff in it, but I still think that, like, even the worst of a lot of those DC animated universe things have more heart than some of the non-DCAU.
Like some of the newer stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly think so, but I don't know.
To be honest, I mean, when I look at like the DC, like with the Justice League War and Flashpoint Paradox, that specific set of movies, there was some story to. I think that there was some heart in there for me where I was attached to certain characters. It was not like there's no comparison of that to the DCAU for me. Like it's not even close. It's like a fun thing to watch, and like there's a story, and like the Apocalypse War movie was insane, and it's way more of a dark, gritty look at everything. But it's not even close to the DCAU for me in really any capacity. So like it just didn't feel that way, and I think it'd be great if they went back to what they were doing. There was a run there where they pumped out Dark Knight Returns.
Also, by the way, I want to say I remember this case not being that interesting. This is like an internal affairs case.
Really?
Considerable distance by the vehicle. I can use the spatter distribution to determine the point of initial impact.
And I do still want to hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Also, but this cop got hit here. I think I remember it was another cop who did it, if I'm remembering right.
This is where Ramo was killed. DNA evidence indicates the car was traveling at a high rate of speed, but the angle of spatter shows the driver lost control and the car was weaving. I should review the crime scene, see if anything else was hit.
It's also possible I'm misremembering this.
So this was... Oh my gosh.
No one?
I didn't...
Me when I meet your mom?
Why didn't he hear the car coming at all, though? There was no reaction. He just got smoked. Where does the body fly to? How far does it go?
Just a second. We need our 45 minutes for
Hold on.
accurate
Let's really
representation.
enjoy this. He went so far.
Yeah, dude, that guy is gone.
Why'd they just leave the corpse in the middle of the road, by the way?
I don't know. What I hate is when you have to, like, jump over,
Like road signs there? Yeah.
like, to get to the next part.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
Chemical analysis indicates a specific brand of paint that narrows down the make and model of the car, and cross-referencing these specs with a list of his team members returns a single name, John DeMarco. Time to pay him a visit.
I searched this place.
Suspect spotted and engaged.
Oh, jeez. That was not good. We'll chalk that up to, like, I'm fighting police. They know what they're doing.
They're really good at this stuff, yeah.
Okay, well, this is rough.
Listen, you're a little rusty. It's been a while, alright?
We're getting started.
Yeah. This is where the fun begins.
I like how these guys murder another cop, and then they're asking for backup.
We need more cops here!
Come on.
There you go. Break them! Alright.
Why did you do it, DeMarco? Why did you kill Ramo?
IAD didn't have enough to make the charges stick, but the kid got scared, made a deal and decided to talk. Traitor.
You'd have been out of jail in a few years on the drug charges. But now, murder means life.
We'll see about that.
With all the evidence I've collected, it won't take long for the jury to convict.
Funny thing about evidence, it has a tendency to disappear.
Not on my watch. Alfred, let GCPD know that Ramo's murderer has been captured. I'm also sending you a taped confession. We'll bring down the rest of the team with him.
Nice. Okay, that was better than I remember.
That wasn't that bad, yeah.
The crimes in this are good. But no, you're right. They did have a run for a long time. I mean, in the DCAU, where I would say it was all good. And even the worst episodes were really fun, you know?
Yeah, well, and then even after that with their movies, even beyond the DCAU, where they had, like, Red Hood, Dark Knight Returns, like, they were pumping out some real good movies. Under the Red Hood, I should say. But, like, they were pumping out some really good stuff. Yeah, it was a crazy good movie. So, like, they were pumping out some really good content, and that was original, wasn't it, Under the Red Hood? Like, that was...
Yeah, that was just kind of its own thing.
That was incredible. It was one of the best movies.
What do you mean original? It was an adaptation.
Oh, it was an
adaptation.
Book. Oh, it was, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I thought you meant like was it in a shared universe?
No. Yeah, I just meant like if that was original or if that was something that they had like
adaptation that they changed for the better, actually. So originally in the Under the Red Hood story, there was some dumb stuff going on. Like there was a whole 2-page-ish thing where Batman was going around trying to talk to people, asking them like, well, what's it like to come back to life? You know, like to different people who did. Or, like,
what?
How could this happen? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I get the point of it, but it was really boring and uninteresting. They just cut that out completely and just kind of did it on its own.
Oh, good. Okay.
Also, they had, what's his name from How I Met Your Mother?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah, he was Nightwing.
Yeah, he was, dude. He was good, too, actually. He did a really good job.
So, I don't know. And even, you know, they did some adaptations in the DC animated universe, but they changed the stories. Like, they would go in, right, and they would take something that had happened in the comics and rewrite it to fit their universe. And they did it well, usually, when they did that. Even things like Tim Drake, how they kind of combined parts of his origin with Jason Todd because they couldn't use Jason at that moment.
Yeah.
Went well.
It did?
When they made changes, that's the thing, is like, I think a lot of people think when I say stuff like that, right, they'll be like, oh, Jay just doesn't like changes. You know what I mean? And I get that that's kind of a perception of like, it has to stay the exact same. But no, two of my favorite DC animated, DC animated movies in general are adaptations, Under the Red Hood and Dark Knight Returns. And they change stuff, I think, for the better. My issue is usually when they change stuff, I think they make it significantly worse.
We've got a bit of a track record now. I mean, it sounds like from what you said, they changed quite a bit in Gotham by Gaslight. They did it the same with Hush. And then they obviously did that with The Killing Joke, which was brutal. But like you were saying, that doesn't mean that changes are necessarily terrible all the time. You can make a solid change and be like, I just don't think this will work on the big screen. They do it all the time with movies, where you have an adaptation from a book to a movie, and it's like, listen, that's just, like, I get it, that works really well in the book, but that's just not going to translate to the big screen well at all. And some of those changes really make people mad, and you feel like, well, you could have definitely fit that in, and it would have added to the film a lot. Other times, it's like, I'm glad you kept that out. We didn't need that. So it's really, it comes down to perception and what the filmmaker thinks is going to work at that time, and then if it actually works and is perceived to have worked by the audience. And I don't know, they don't always. It seems lately they've been having a hard time nailing the good part of that. You know what I mean? They've been struggling to make it where it's a change that makes sense and that works with the story. And
I also think there's too much edginess just to be edgy right now in DC, like in terms of rated R movies. I like rated R movies, and I don't think that of something like The Suicide Squad, but there's a bunch of DC animated stuff where, for example, I really liked Apocalypse War, right? But
it was so much. I
do think that on purpose they were trying to go more adult with it just to be more adult. And I think that with that kind of stuff, I almost think there's more of a sense of maturity in something like the old DC animated universe where they're able to do that without, always going all the way.
Showing people getting torn in half. And
I just think that the writing is higher quality. Now, it doesn't, there's certainly things that benefit from that. Logan, for example, look at Logan compared to X-Men Origins Wolverine. Obviously there are things that benefit from that. Deadpool, I can't imagine PG-13 Deadpool, but I do think that there is a point with it where you have to look at what worked and why did it work so well for so long. Like, for example, why do people, I'm just throwing this out here. I'm not saying no one does, but why do people still talk about Batman the Animated Series? Why is it still iconic? Why do people still talk about Batman Beyond? Nobody asked for Batman Beyond. Do you know what they did with that? They took a kid, made him Batman, made Batman a fairly decrepit old man with heart problems, and everyone was written insanely well. And it matched the universe it was in. There was no comic precedent for it. They invented Terry McGinnis for that. They created him. It was not an adaptation. They created something no one asked for and everyone loved. Mm-hmm. And you're going from that to they can't create things that everyone's asking for. And make them love them still. Like adaptations. Yeah. I get it. The Long Halloween. But for some reason, the internet seems to have a very short memory when it comes to this stuff, with the fact that for years, they've also struggled with that stuff. And it's a little hypocritical. I love Bruce Timm. I love his art. I actually do often like him when he's in a writing role too. Do I think he's as good as, Dini? No. But I do like him, and I think he does understand the characters, and I think that, yes, he has a different idea of certain things than some people do. Like, he likes Batman and Batgirl together in the DCAU, like in Return of the Joker. A lot of people don't like that. I thought it was fine. He did the whole thing with Harley Quinn. But what I'm getting at with this is I think that his sentiments on it, because I don't know if you ever watched this interview, but when asked why they moved away from the DCAU, he said, we were kind of out of ideas. It's like, but then you made a whole universe with all stories, and none of them you had used in the DC animated universe. You know what I mean? All of those things, all of Justice League War and everything. I don't want to see the DCAU characters get torn in half. No. But I'm just saying, you made 15 movies after that? And you made adaptations of comics that weren't set in that after the DCAU semi-concluded for a long time? But you're telling me you were out of ideas for it? How does that even work? I can give you ideas off the top of my head. Wonder Woman the animated series with that Diana from Justice League. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Jon Stewart, I would seriously make this a Jon Stewart Green Lantern show, but with
Hawkgirl.
Yeah. Hawkgirl, Shaira. And set it after Unlimited, where they're together as a couple. I would make a Flash animated series, either a limited series of a season or two, or long running. I would make a continuation of Batman the animated series, but set during the years where, I'm being serious here, I thought of this, set during the years after the Return of the Joker flashback, where you have Batman, because Batman and Batgirl were still romantically together for a while after that. Mm-hmm. So you have them together working, and slowly they drift apart, and then, she leaves, and Batman's the only one left, and he's using the Beyond suit, and you see his health slowly declining. Almost like a Dark Knight Returns type thing, where you see him not just struggling with the criminals, but the fact that he's getting old and doesn't have help anymore.
Well, I like that because you could bridge the gap between the animated series and the new Batman Adventures, and you could bridge that gap into Beyond, I think, pretty seamlessly. And you could even do a Mandalorian, a Obi-Wan kind of filler season or two. You know what I mean? Where it's you have that, and then you show him, maybe it starts, like you said, right at the end of that Return of the Joker flashback, and then you start to see the relationships kind of start to fizzle away, and eventually he's old, he's gray, you see him kind of starting to lose it gradually, and then by the end, we're at that point where Beyond picks up, where he's on the ground pointing a gun, realizing I can't be Batman anymore. We've bridged the gap. That's a ton of content you're looking at potentially. You could do so much with that.
You could do a few seasons. And I think, honestly, I love that Barbara Gordon. And I thought that her and Bruce in that universe do have chemistry. And I thought that it would be cool to see, you know, like maybe you see a season or two of them together as partners fighting crime and they're actually, you know, romantically interested. And you see what happened to Catwoman with that, too. Because Catwoman was, like, and Batman were a thing. So what happened to Catwoman after that, because they never ended up together.
Well, you can see how Bruce changed too after Alfred passes away, and you can see how that affects him and what
it would clearly probably make him angrier and more driven and distant, and then that would also likely cause his relationship with Barbara to break down.
For sure.
Dick Grayson's gone at this point. Tim Drake quit. You know, you could really easily see that kind of stuff, and maybe you even have, I'm being serious, what if you did Superman Beyond 1 or 2 seasons? They've done it in comics where you have that Superman post the Starro thing still being Superman. You bring back Tim Daly to voice him.
Yep.
You know, you could do this very easily, all of these things, but no, we're out of ideas. It's like, dude, I just have a degree in like teaching writing, and I can give you more ideas for good stories. I could write some of the stories. I know that sounds like a little conceited. I'd certainly need help with dialogue, but I could outline stories for the DCAU that I think would be extremely interesting for fans of it. And they are saying they don't want to or can't. To me, that's crap, especially when they came back after that and made, you know, the adventures continue now, and also
they're diving into a lot with that, by the way. Like, there's so much they're diving into. That's darker.
Oh, but we're out of ideas.
Yeah, dude, but like they're bringing in all these new. They even made a new character. They introduced a new character. It's like a Lex Luthor's kind of like side character that he works with. But that's like a new character that they introduced. They brought in, not to spoil anything, but you can see it on the covers. They brought in Red Hood. You can see kind of what happened there, and they actually even show in season 1 how Red Hood was made and what happened to Jason Todd in the DCAU. You're telling me that there's no room for that in a television series where you couldn't make that into something?
Yeah, and that's just those comics. Like, then that's just those comics ignoring all the ideas I just pitched. Ethan.
Correct. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'm not trying to say like, hey, I'm the smartest guy in the room. Like, I know I'm perfect at writing. I'm not, but I have written stories. I have gotten work published, actually, like in local stuff. In the past, when I was in college, mainly poetry type stuff, but I actually did. And when you're telling me that someone like me, right, who's like been locally published like twice and didn't make any money off of it and just has a degree in teaching writing, can come up with ideas, but you, some of the most iconic writers of animation of all time, either can't or don't want to me, it's kind of like, I don't buy that. I know you guys can. I know you can. You're smarter than me. You know, if I can hand you this outline, you could turn it into something amazing. Think about what you could do if you sat down and outlined something.
Right.
Probably make something 50 times better than I can.
Well,
I'm just spitballing ideas.
And yeah, you're right. Looking at like Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, these guys that are, I mean, titans of that industry.
Titans.
I get it, dude. But yeah, there's so much that they could build off of with that, and yeah, there's a lot of money to be made too. There's a big following still.
Oh, are we gonna do this and then talk more about it?
I was thinking so.
What's going
on?
What?
What?
Didn't I get them all?
What is jammed?
I thought I got them all.
I guess not.
Did I miss one?
Maybe.
Really? Huh. Weird. I didn't think I missed one. I checked them out.
I didn't think you did either.
Also, where do you think that is? It's like a random data pack? I don't know. Anyway, that whole thing was not to say like, hey, look.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, do you have to get it while you go up?
Maybe, yeah, or down. Maybe we can just be ready for it when we go down.
My whole thing was not to say like, hey, look how smart I am. My point was just I can come up with these ideas. I know they could do better. you know?
Sure.
That's really all I was trying to say with that, and it literally doesn't let you use the elevator again.
Sick.
You have to leave.
Yeah, get outside, dude.
You have to go out the door and come
Get
back.
out of here.
So when I see that kind of stuff, it's frustrating to me because, again, you guys are amazing at writing, and now you're back doing it, and you still don't want to touch it. Like, that's the stuff I want to see. Like, give me more DCAU. You know, I don't know. I'm more interested in that, I guess. And maybe I'm alone, but I think you are too. At the very least.
I can't. Oh, that might not have been a data pack. Actually, looking at it,
No.
it was just a green light.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Maybe it's down the hall. Like if you go down there, can you line launch over there?
To the right?
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh, there it is.
Yes.
Weird. I've never seen them in one of these.
No, I don't remember that at all. But yeah, no, I'm dying for the DCAU content, and that's why like every Tuesday, once a month, a new Batman: The Adventures Continue issue comes out. I'm trying to get there immediately and make sure that I get one. Like I am really just trying to get my hands on any kind of content that I can. I'm going through and watching Static Shock for the first time and trying to really make sure that I see everything that the DCAU has to offer. And I don't know, I don't feel like it would be... I think that Kevin Conroy is always up to play Batman. That's at least the vibe that I get. Like, he's never not wanting to play Batman. I'm not saying you have to get Mark Hamill back, but I think you have so much of, like...
I've planted 3...
Sorry. You can go ahead and talk.
No, that's...
I'm just gonna switch outfits and then run over to Anarchy.
Yeah. No, that sounds great. But I just... there's so much content that's out there, and I'm not saying that like it has to be done, obviously, but I just feel like it's a possibility. There's a lot of money to be made. Is one thing, I guess, if you're looking for motivation in that regard. There is still a giant following of the DCAU. There's tons of people who are always trying to get their hands on content, on new comics, and then the new Blu-ray for the Superman animated series is going to be coming out soon.
Delayed, by the way. Did you see that?
It
did?
did?
2 weeks delayed.
When does it come out officially, do you know?
When was it going to come out? I feel like now it's the 26th or the 23rd.
That sucks.
Also, I had to wait because they were talking, so I couldn't fast travel.
Oh,
but,
I see.
Yeah, no, it got delayed 2 weeks. But yeah, that's coming out. There's hype behind that. I can't wait to get that.
Yeah. That's must get. I mean, like, they're in...
Static Shock. I'm still waiting on... All we need now, I think, is Static Shock and Zeta Project, and I think everything's on Blu-ray. I think that's it.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. They should finally do a Gotham Girls.
Are in order, sir.
Wait, what?
Like, do like a...
Gotham Girls?
Gotham Girls. They should do something there.
You may wish to suggest they increase security. He's no doubt already planning his escape.
Solitary should help. The less contact he has with people, the better.
Certainly. And yet I can't shake the feeling we'll be seeing him again, and not during visiting hours.
Yeah, it was just talking about Joker being confined or whatever.
Oh, I see.
So we got about 10 minutes-ish,
Perfect.
and then you will have to run out of here.
Gonna go see Venom, dude.
You're gonna go see what?
Venom, dude.
Venom.
Are you excited for that movie, dude?
You know, I was, and then you told me it's only an hour and a half, and now I'm kind of concerned.
It's a little worrisome. I know.
I'm a little bit like, ooh.
I know.
I said an hour and a half. That there are horror movies longer than Venom.
Correct.
Do you get the feeling that Venom 1 and 2 were gutted a little bit, like, of content, like that they were going to be longer? Because I got the feeling in the first one that there were portions of the movie cut.
I'm a little concerned.
Story.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned that is the case. I saw too. Not to, that the reviews are the end all be all by any means, and I hate looking at them before I go into a movie. I try to avoid it when I can, but I saw for Venom that there are it's like a 65% or something like that. The critics. But users are at like 85%.
So users liked it.
Users liked it, which I literally could care less if the critics like it at this point, because I feel like their
they don't
opinions,
matter.
They don't line up with what I like, typically ever, honestly.
They're irrelevant. I genuinely think that, like, oh man, that was a mistake. I think it's a real job. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not critiquing the work in terms of, do I think they should be paid to do it? I mean, I think it'd be hypocritical to say I should be paid to do what I do and not say yes.
Sure.
You know, so sure, like, I think if you can do something and get paid, I don't care if you're a stripper, I don't care if you're a writer, I don't care if you are a prostitute. It's a job.
Strippers or prostitutes, yeah.
But, you know, being a drug dealer is a job. It's just an illegal one.
That's true, yeah.
But, you know, like, for them, I do think that their opinions have become less relevant. I don't think it means that they shouldn't ever be gauged. But I do think that, like, a lot of people just don't care, you know, what they think.
And I think their opinions can still be subject to criticism themselves, because if they're just not liking things for... The thing is, I think critics look at films in a much different way than, like, your average consumer does.
I accidentally missed that, so I'm going somewhere else.
No, it's okay. But, like, critics look at it in a way, it's like, well, how does the cinematography look? What exactly are we looking at Act 1, Act 2, Act 3? Flow of everything, which I think a lot of consumers are still looking at. But critics almost, I don't want to say pretentiously, but it feels like that sometimes, that they're looking down on films as a very, like, technical work. Not saying that they aren't, but average consumers also go into things looking for entertainment, fun, was it a good story, was there good acting? That's what I'm looking for. Was I entertained, and did I have a good time? That's not saying that the consumer is dumb, once again. That's literally just saying I think they look at it in a much different way than your average consumer does going to the theater.
Yeah, and some consumers are a little less informed, for sure, but, you know, I mean, their opinion is still valid for what it is.
Yeah, and that's why you have, I think, such a discrepancy so many times with those user reviews and with a critic. Because a critic is looking at the film in a lens of a much more like, I'm actually trying to pick apart what's wrong with this movie. I think consumers going in looking like, well, I want to like this movie. Especially if it's something like a Marvel movie or a DC movie or something that I'm very passionate about. I really want to like this movie, so I'm not going to look for things that I don't like. I'm going to look for things that I do like. And then if things stick out, unless it's glaring obvious, then I'm going to like it. And I'm going to say that, and I'm going to enjoy what I see here, as long as it's a good product. So that's why I think people start to care less and less about what critics think, because they don't look at movies the same way that me and you do. That's not what their job is.
Right. But it's interesting how, I will say, I'm not saying their job doesn't matter at all, but I am saying it's odd, because what happens if no one cares? Then, like, who are they critiquing the film for?
That's the thing. Yeah.
You know, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Also, I don't know where this is.
Is it underneath the bridge?
Could be. That's a good idea. It could be.
But I mean, like, a guy like Chris Stuckman, for example, I've been watching him for a long time. I find that I align a lot of the times when I see a movie with him.
Like, good eye.
It
was down here.
Yes. But yeah, like, I think he looks at things in a very technical way and still is able to enjoy movies. He's a bit more critical of it than I typically am, but I still really like his content, and I like what he says about movies, and like I said, I typically align with him. But that's more of a critic take, I guess, that I am okay with listening to and watching, than, like, the guy from the New York Times writing about a movie, which I
could care
less about, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing, too, with me. Like, believe it or not, I was taught to analyze movies and stories more critically. Like, in terms of, in my degree, like, that's something we talked about.
Yeah.
Analyzing stories and, like, writing and all that stuff. However, I've noticed that, despite that, I'm not as hard on some things as a lot of people are. You know, like, something can have a shortcoming, and I can still think it's really good. I guess I don't necessarily align with, like, the critical lens of, I have to pick everything apart. It's somewhere kind of in the middle of, like, fan perspective and criticism for me. It's also why I don't like numbers. Like, I understand the point of numbers and letter grades for, like, this is trying to tell you where I align, right?
Give you some sort of scale. Yeah.
But my problem is that it's inherently, like, the scale itself is meant to be an objective indicator of where they align, but it itself is subjective, because there's no way for my 10 to be your 10, you know?
Right.
Like, that's the problem I have with that. So, like, when I review movies, I understand that some people want more of a breakdown. They can, oh, give me a number or a letter or whatever. But to me, it's, hey, here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't like. Here's what I think about, like, the cinematography and special things like that. Like, how did they frame scenes? Did they look good? Did they try on this? Or does it look like they didn't even try on aspects of the movie? Those kinds of things I'll talk about. Or, hey, you know, I think if you like this, you'll like this. I try to use comparisons, too. But I think that I personally think the days of the critic in terms of it's an 8 out of 10 and my opinion matters most because I went to film school, I do think that that's a little bit over. I'm not saying that they can't have their opinion, and I'm not saying they can't get paid for it. I still think that, like anything, like any sort of writer, as long as there's a market for it, that's good. But I do get tired of the more pretentious, holier than thou, like, fans don't know anything, that kind of thing.
Yes, and I think that's why people are drawn away from that, and that's why you see guys like on YouTube that are critiquing films and looking at films and reviewing them, and they have giant followings because it's a much more relatable way to look at films. Guys like Chris Stuckman. There's another guy who's always got
Jeremy Johns.
That's the guy. Yeah.
The red background guy.
Yes, that guy. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, he did a good job of building his brand in terms of his thumbnails. Really do stick out.
They do. Yeah. That's what I thought it was.
He's a pretty funny guy too. I haven't watched a ton of his stuff, but him and Chris Stuckman, yeah, they come off more human.
They do, and it's not like it's not going in saying I wanted to hate this movie. It's just like, hey, like I came in just like everyone else, and this is what I thought of it. I didn't really like it.
What's really frustrating is anyone who likes this movie is an idiot.
Yes.
Like, I never understood that. Like, I will tell you why I think Transformers is not written well, but I think it's fun and I can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And if someone I would disagree if someone said, objectively, this is written well. It's like, well, I don't know about that. Yeah. And not to be credentialist, but I do know how to analyze certain types of writing. But that doesn't mean you can't enjoy it, That's my problem, is like the talking down on people, telling them they can't enjoy it or their opinion doesn't matter. I have a problem with both. Like everything is objective and everything is subjective. I don't think either of those is true. There's merits on both sides. Some things are going to be more subjective with criticism. Some things like story structure are going to be more objective. If you can't have your story flow at all in a way that can be followed by audience members, or your acting is terrible, some of those things are not subjective. They're like, no, everyone can see this. This is not good. And it can be proven. But a lot of other things, right? Like, I talk about Prometheus a lot as an example of a movie I like. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't like it because they don't like the answers that it provided to that universe. That kind of thing is more of a subjective thing, where it's like, hey, it's less about the writing and it's more about, I've been a fan of these movies since 1980 or whatever, when they made the first Alien, and I don't like the direction. It's like the Tim Drake thing. My point was never, hey, you're an idiot if you like this, and if you agree with how he's written, you're a big stinky poo-poo head. It was just, hey, here's why I don't think this works.
Which I did hear you say that, though.
Yeah, you're a big stinky poo-poo head.
Yeah, I didn't like that, yeah.
Not to bring that one up again, but it's like the one opinion I can think of that I had that a lot of people really disagreed with. Most of my opinions seem to not upset people that much.
Ruffle feathers, per se, yeah.
I would say I'm a fairly milquetoast person. I'm not exactly super controversial and,
fairly colored skin.
Constantly milking MILFs. No, but it's not like I'm running around like Lord of the Rings is trash and Harry Potter's garbage and here's why objectively the writing's bad or anything like that. I'm not here, like, I'm not the Milo Yiannopoulos of movie reviews. Like, I'm not here to, like, upset people on purpose or get a rise or whatever. I'm just telling you
controversy
what I think.
For the sake of controversy. No, it's just... and that's, I guess, where there are critics who look at it and I think look at everything in a very, like, a intellectual scope, and I say that with parentheses, and I think that they look down on films, they look at every film as if it's got to be this intelligent, groundbreaking piece of art. Not everything has to be that way. Sometimes you can just sit back and enjoy something, and it doesn't have to change your mind about how you view the world. It can just be like, oh, that was dope. A bunch of robots blew up Manhattan, and I had a great time. You know what I mean? And that's it. And that's cool.
Yeah, and I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. There is something to be said about when you can't have fun.
Yeah.
If you hit the point of film criticism or literary criticism or anything where you just can't have fun, I think you're too far.
You should probably stop. Yeah.